time do we have?
Maybe the 90 minutes is the longest.
Oh, okay. I don't think I'll need that much, but
Okay.
maybe people will be so confused they will want extra time. So, aloha, assalamu alaikum, salamat. Hello, everyone. My name is Lance, and as you can see, I preferred by my funny nickname of Supreme Leader because I'm not sure why I prefer that, but I like goofing around. I like playing around, so I sometimes I play with that name. I'm very honored to be here. Rahman and Liana have been long-term collaborators. They have consistently kept in touch after their training in our program, which was when 2015.
17.
16.
Spring 2017. Yeah.
Yeah, in the BC days before COVID. So I'm always honored to participate in anything that they're doing, and really had to be honest, in my calendar I had planned to be in Kalimantan and joining you for this, but due to some changes in the way our world operates, I'm so glad to be joining you by video. Neo, do you need to translate any of that, or should I keep going?
I think so.
I think it was okay because the participant actually can turn on their CC, their closed caption, in
Nice.
Google Hangout.
Okay.
Maybe all the participant, peserta yang lain boleh diaktifin ya kolom CC atau closed captionnya. Jadi nanti apapun yang dibicarakan bisa muncul bahasa Inggrisnya begitu. Kalau ada yang tidak dimengerti, baru nanti saya akan interpret. Gimana peserta yang lain? Oke, clear ya. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to try to shift over to my presentation. Could you let me know how it looks?
So handsome.
How is it? Good?
Good.
Okay.
The presentation is not there yet. Are you? Yeah, I can see you, but no presentation.
You can see me. Oh, I see. Okay, let me try another.
Very good.
What are you looking at now?
Let me check the
Your face.
Just my face.
Oh yeah, it's just pop up. Okay, I can see the slide now.
You can.
Okay.
Okay. So should see some of the slide, is it?
Yeah, we can see the slide.
Okay, and is it advancing for you? Do you see the map?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out how to get in a space where I can see the chat box. So I think what I might rely on you guys to do is maybe you can start reading some of the things that come in the chat box. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. So can I see who's joining us? Who's paying attention? Can some of us put a greeting in the chat box? Make sure everyone is able to use that. Neo, can you test that option? Can you type something to me there? Rockman, Leanna, you too. Please play the message. Hello.
Okay.
Hi. Everybody else is asleep, huh? Oh, hi. Hello, Azmi. Hi, Liana. Hi, Nizza. Hi, Fanny. Hi, Rizky. Hello, Feby. Dion, the famous Dion?
Not that, yeah.
Not that Dion. Oh, hi, Dion. You'll be famous soon.
Soon.
I meant. Hi, Sakina. Hi, Tasya.
We wish to have another East West Center fellowship. We haven't, East Kalimantan hasn't have it since my batch.
Wow, is that right?
No,
Hmm.
no East Kalimantan representative to the to East West Center.
I thought we had someone. No, I guess not.
Yeah.
Hi, Sanifa. Hi, Indriana. Good, thank you. It makes me feel much better to know that you're awake before I put you to sleep. So again, my name is Lance, and I work at a place called the East West Center, and that is in a small chain of islands in the middle of the Pacific. These are this photograph that I hope you're looking at is a ship that the Polynesians first came here on. We're one of the very last inhabited islands on Earth, and what you're looking at is a recreation of the very first ship they came here on. And what I wanted to talk a little bit about today is the idea of innovation, the idea of creating something really incredibly wonderful and new and equitable. But I wanted to talk about creating innovation that also helps us achieve sustainable development. So I wanted to talk about innovation that is not just for the sake of creating something new, but is to make the world better. It's to make its life, all life on the planet better. It's to make humans even better, even more thriving, and to generally make sure that we create more and more opportunities for the people of Samarinda, for the people of Hawaii, and for all the people and all the species on Earth. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. But before that, I wanted to kind of show you where we live, I guess, a bird's eye view, more like a satellite view of where we are. Do you see my cursor here?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So here is North America, the United States, and obviously here is Asia and the beautiful archipelago of Indonesia. I think you guys are in here, right? So you're much, much bigger, but you're an island like we are. This is where Hawaii is. And we are actually underneath a volcano at the bottom of the ocean that creates us. So this volcano has erupted over the years and created these chain of islands. There's still a volcano erupting here on the bigger island. But most of the people, including myself and including the East West Center, live here on this island called Oahu in the city of Honolulu. So the city of Honolulu looks like this from the mountains looking down. And down here behind this tree is this place called the East West Center, where Liana and Rahman and many Indonesian students have come over the years. But any place you go in our islands, maybe like, I think Borneo is a little bigger, but in Hawaii, anywhere you go, you always see the water. You always realize that most of the planet is a blue planet. So here on our grounds, you'll find water, and you'll find some of our famous architecture where we host our classes. But you'll also learn about a history of our place. So here you see the photograph of Liana playing in the garden. Do you see her? So many people like to come to these gardens and play or study. And one such person that came, I'm going to tell you about in just a minute. But for now, I want you to know that we are about 200 people, and the office that the buildings I'm telling you about are in Honolulu and Hawaii. And then we have a smaller office in Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States. We are focused on doing research for Asia. We run education programs for people from Asia and the United States. We run seminars, and we also do trainings like my department does. So we have been here for quite a while, over 60 years now, and there's now over 65,000 people who have been a part of our programs, and we like to consider a part of our ohana, or our family, and that's where Liana and Rahman are familiar through. But what I wanted to talk about is those gardens where you saw Liana playing in that photograph, because she's not the only person that has been playing in those gardens. So a long time ago, well, not that long ago, a little bit ago, a young boy used to play in those gardens when his mom and dad were here at the East-West Center. And he used to go to those gardens and play around and imagine how he could make the world better. Does anyone have a guess who that little boy became? Or Liana or Rahman, are you able to imagine who that is?
Maybe it's you.
No. Yeah, I have spent time there, but I have not been this famous yet. This is someone even more famous than the Supreme Leader. Who could that be?
It's Obama.
Donald Trump.
Yeah, right. So he had a vision that we would create a place of network of action. And Obama found this out, and in fact realized, yes, I want to be a part, I want to support this. And so he created this thing called Waisili. And I like to think that he created it when he was a boy playing in those gardens, where he said, this is a beautiful place, we need to share this. And wanted to keep his connection to Indonesia through the East-West Center. So a few years back, he invited us to go to the White House. As usual, you can see they made me sit in the very, very back. And they let all the Southeast Asians, the young Southeast Asians, and the VIPs sit up front. So although I got to sit in the back, it was still a fun occasion to be in the White House and to hear the president speak about the initiative that you're hopefully a part of, or will be a part of, and joining. So that's our connection to Hawaii. That's our connection to President Obama, and that's our connection to trying to make the world better and trying to create opportunities for sustainable development. So we're going to now I'm going to be asking you some questions. And again, as I said, I'd like you to be typing those answers into the chat box as you come up with the ideas. If you want to put them in Bahasa, please do. Neo may be able to read those out, or Liana Rockman can read those out for me. But I wanted to kind of give us some perspective, again, like we imagine we are out at sea looking back at land, or thinking about where we're going long term. And I wanted to ask you, over the last 100 years, so think a long time ago, what's been happening to the health of the planet? And I want you to be thinking about as well, what's been happening to the health of humanity? And lastly, what is the health of your own community? So again, right now we're in really difficult circumstances. Everyone in the world is in a difficult circumstance. However, if we look at the last 100 years, we may be seeing a different set of facts, a different set of realities. And I want to talk about that long-term trend today, not just the struggle we're going through right now that hopefully we'll get through with further science and innovation. So maybe first, let's go to the chat box. And again, I want you to answer in your own words. Just type in a few words, whatever comes to mind. Your answer to these two questions. So I hope you'll be putting in 2 words there. So what do you know about water on Earth? First thing, what do you know about water on Earth? Go ahead and type your fact or your idea in there now. And that could be something like how much of the world is fresh water, or how much of our bodies are water. Just type something you know about water, please. And then the second, go ahead.
Oke, para peserta boleh dijawab ya pertanyaan yang ada di layar. Yang pertama, apa yang kamu ketahui tentang air di bumi? Dan juga pertanyaan kedua, apa yang telah terjadi dengan air yang ada di bumi kita ini? Boleh dijawab dalam satu kata atau dua kata. Boleh dalam bahasa Inggris, boleh dalam bahasa Indonesia.
And then Neo as well, if you would read, please, the second question. So not just what you know, but what is happening to our planet's water?
Alright.
What is happening to our planet's water?
Jadi sekali lagi pertanyaannya ada dua. Yang pertama, what do you know about water on Earth? Apa yang kamu ketahui tentang air yang ada di bumi? Dan pertanyaan yang kedua, what is happening to our planet's water? Apa yang telah terjadi kepada air yang ada di bumi kita ini? Boleh dijawab pada satu kalimat, dua kalimat, satu kata, dua kata, tidak apa-apa. Oh, we got one answer.
Great. Please read it.
Indriani, water is the most important thing in Earth.
Oh, good. You must have plenty of oxygen then if you think water is most important, but I agree with you. Water is very important. Do we have anyone else?
Not yet.
Not yet. We'll be patient.
Dijawab dengan bahasa Indonesia tidak apa-apa ya. Pertanyaan pertama, apa yang kamu ketahui tentang air di bumi ini? Pertanyaan kedua, apa yang terjadi dengan air di planet kita? Oh,
Thank you, Azmi. Very nice. May I call you Rizky? Water maintains the balance of nature on Earth. Very nice.
Nice.
I think that Indriani writes, I think that many water sources were damaged due to human activity. Very interesting. Rahman says something in Bahasa. I missed that water has many benefits, but we have unstable hygiene. Yes, Rahman and Leana have told me a lot about hygiene issues in Kalimantan, and we have some of our own here. What does Alita say there, Neo?
the quality of the water on Earth is getting worse, getting bad.
Ah, okay. Water is the most important thing for humans. As long as I can see in Indonesia, pollution occurs in the water. Okay, good. Thank you, Dion. And go on. Water is the source of life for humans. Nice. A lot of water is being polluted for now. Unfortunately, I think you may be accurate. Oh, good. Sanifa's had a long explanation. She's our expert. What did she say, Neil?
The amount of the water on Earth is still the same, but the quality is getting worse. The water is getting polluted. It is resulting. We have a crisis with the clean water, and in other side, the infiltration of the water to the ground is kind of declining every year. So when the flood is happen, when the rainy season happen, it will cause a flood, and when it is a dry season, it will cause drought, like that.
Very nice.
If I'm not mistaken, because this one is too scientific.
Yeah.
Not my field of study.
For me too. You did a great job. Wow, wonderful, wonderful contributions. So let me now go back and bring us up to date a little bit. So I have about a 3-minute story that I want to share that in fact gives us the long view of what's been happening to water. So let's see if our audio works. Let me know if everything okay. So this should give us the big picture now and keep us all up to date.
Keeps our planet alive. The rivers are its arteries. Rivers run down mountains through forest, flow through desert and delta, course through bended bayous offshore, and recirculate back from our ocean.
Oh, sorry. Everything okay on the audio?
It suddenly stopped.
Should I keep going? It's okay?
Yep. Please keep going because it suddenly stopped.
Oh, okay. I'll keep going now. See if we can get it going.
The global water cycle keeps our planet alive. The rivers are its arteries. Rivers run down mountains through forest, flow through desert and delta, course through bended bay and swerving shore, and recirculate back from our ocean. Evaporation, condensation, access to water has defined where human populations have flourished. Civilization emerged between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers on the Fertile Crescent of Mesopotamia in modern-day Iraq. Now we are changing the carbon and nitrogen cycles. We are altering the global water system too, through damming, extraction, irrigation, and climate change. Many rivers no longer reach the sea. We move more sediment than natural erosion and rivers. We've built 48,000 large dams. We've drained half of global wetlands. We use an area the size of South America to grow our crops, an area the size of Africa for our livestock. Agriculture accounts for 70% of global freshwater use, and we need to feed a growing population. In a single lifetime, we've become a phenomenal global force. We are pushing Earth into a new geological epoch, the Anthropocene, dominated by humanity. We have altered Earth's snow cover, sea ice, and ocean volume, fundamental elements of the water cycle. Climate change will bring more flooding, drought, and disease. A warmer atmosphere holds more water vapor. This is causing the water cycle to intensify. Wet regions are becoming wetter, dry areas drier. Rainfall patterns are changing. Damming, mining, and extraction are causing 2/3 of major deltas to sink. Almost 800 million people have no safe drinking water. 2.4 billion remain without adequate sanitation. 1.7 billion people live in places where groundwater is extracted faster than it can be replenished. 4 out of 5 people worldwide face risk to their water security. For water security, we urgently need innovative and creative approaches to policy from local to global. With nations competing for limited resources, we must find better ways to manage them. And we must adapt to a changing water cycle. This is the challenge of water in the Anthropocene.
Great. So maybe in the chat box you could please describe something new you learned from that.
Para peserta boleh menuliskan kata-kata atau hal apa nih yang udah hal baru apa yang kalian dapat dari video yang tadi udah di play.
Boleh ketik di bahasa Indonesia. If you have problem with English, ketik di bahasa Indonesia nggak apa-apa.
Iya, boleh dituliskan di bahasa Indonesia atau di bahasa Inggris. Hal baru apa yang kalian dapat dari video yang tadi baru saja di play. Okay, one answer from Indriani. She said that we have a fresh water crisis nowadays.
Thank you, Indriani. That's right, we do. Someone else maybe share something new that they got from that? Indriani again.
The climate change changed the water cycle in the earth.
Exactly. So with that, why don't we go ahead and please, if you would, keep typing in your ideas there about water and something new you may have learned from that. But Indriani mentioned climate, and that's what I want to focus on next. Climate is something that in my lifetime has astonishingly gone from being just a small science that some people were practicing to actually being a conversation many people are having. So you may not have seen this in your lives. Climate may have already been there to the forefront now, but it's been a remarkable testament to how humans can pay attention to problems and focus on addressing them. But what I want to ask you is, what do you know about the climate on Earth? And also in the chat box, would you please type what is happening to our planet's climate? Go ahead and type in your messages now, please.
Oke, para peserta boleh diketik lagi jawabannya. Ada pertanyaan yang pertama, what do you know about climate on Earth? Apa yang kalian ketahui tentang climate yang ada di bumi ini? Kemudian pertanyaan yang kedua,
Nuha, maybe you learned something from your time in the U.S. you could share with us?
no, but from the video before, I just realized that 70% of global water use is used by the agriculture and farming. That's quite surprising.
There you go. Wow, that's a wonderful, wonderful point, Neil. And does anyone know what most of that water is growing? 70% of our fresh water, 2/3 of our fresh water is for farming. But what are we growing? What are we growing? Or another way to say it is, who are we growing that food for? I'll give you a hint. It's not for humans.
Animal.
For animals.
Livestock.
Livestock. What type of livestock, Liana?
I think it's cow.
Cows are big. What else?
Chicken. Pig.
Pigs.
What else?
Ducks, maybe?
Maybe ducks.
Maybe.
Not much.
Not much. But the point is that we're not growing food for humans. We're taking most of our water and we're creating something that we're then feeding to an animal that we will then consume later. So there's something in that cycle we need to be thinking about differently, I think. So that's a great point, Neo. And now moving maybe more into the climate question. Again, can we get anyone to jump in on this idea of what you know about climate on Earth and what's happening to our planet's climate? Surely this is something you've heard about.
Ya, jadi para peserta, pertanyaan yang pertama, apa yang kalian ketahui tentang iklim yang ada di bumi? Kemudian pertanyaan yang kedua, the second question, apa yang telah terjadi dengan iklim yang ada di bumi ini? Boleh dijawab satu kata, dua kata, tidak apa-apa, boleh dalam bahasa Indonesia, boleh dalam bahasa Inggris. Jangan malu-malu ya para peserta.
Okay, let's keep going then, and let's look at some of the things happening with our climate, and maybe you'll be able to grab something from this short video, and again answer the question in the chat box, please.
Our planet is vast. It's difficult to comprehend the scale. It's difficult, too, to comprehend the scale of humanity and the vast changes we've wrought in a lifetime. Population, production, and consumption have grown exponentially. Roads, railways, airlines, shipping routes, the digital revolution. We've created a globally interconnected society. Evidence is mounting. We've entered the Anthropocene. Humanity is altering Earth's life support system. Carbon dioxide emissions are accelerating. Greenhouse gas levels are unprecedented in human history. The climate system is changing rapidly. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change assesses the risks and options for societies. Its latest report states it is extremely likely humans are the dominant cause of warming in the past 60 years. Without deep emissions cuts, it is likely Earth will cross the target of 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, the target set by international policy. This could happen as early as 2050. If emissions keep rising at current rates, a 4-degree rise by 2100 is as likely as not. It's very likely heat waves will occur more often and last longer. The Arctic will warm faster than the global average. It's likely sea ice will all but vanish in summer within decades if high emissions continue. It's very likely sea level rise will accelerate. Cities and coastal areas are vulnerable. In general, wet regions are set to get wetter, dry regions drier. Monsoons are likely to become longer, their footprint likely to grow, and downpours likely to intensify. The acidity of the ocean has increased 26% since the start of the Industrial Revolution. The full consequences of all these changes on the Earth system are unknown. Humanity's carbon footprint adapt climate change. The scale of change on decisions made now is possible, but it is up to societies now to decide the future we want. For a likely chance of achieving the 2-degree target, societies can emit another 250 billion tons of carbon. We burn about 10 billion tons of carbon a year. At current rates, we will use this budget in about 25 years.
So that hopefully got you thinking a bit. I see Rockman saying yesterday it was a flood for every 2 hours, every rain. We're getting used to it. And the poor is having the biggest effect. That's right. Climate change is a big issue with equity. The poor will be having the least resources to adapt. Noe, could you tell me what Indriani says there? She's our #1 contributor, I think.
All right. Indriani said that she thinks that the climate here is not stable because of the global warming, and it is caused. Sorry. She thinks that the climate nowadays is not stable because of the global warming. Even 1 degree Celsius increase, even 1 degree Celsius of the what is it? Oh wait. Sorry.
Increase in 1 degree Celsius can
affecting the climate
condition.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you, Indriani, again for contributing. And yes, I hope this is some eye-opening ideas and facts for everyone. Just one quick note, Adriana, you mentioned that the climate is not stable, and we're clearly destabilizing it further. But one thing I want us to remember is that the climate has never been stable. We're in an unusually stable period here for the last 10,000 years, but it's always fluctuated. It's always changing. It's not supposed to be, in the history of the Earth, it's not supposed to always be the same. So change is going to be very natural. And we don't want to think that we're going to stop change, or we're going to make the climate do the same thing, or we're going to make the Earth stop spinning. So be thinking about change as being natural and being a part of how the systems work and actually what makes them healthy. However, we are changing it to an extent that is causing too much drastic changes. But a couple of things that I think, 3 things that came up in the video that I want to mention. Yes, and thank you. Is it Melinda? Thank you very much. High temperature extremes and heavy precipitation. You're exactly right. Extremes, meaning some very high, some a little hard to predict. Very unusual type of circumstances, which are very hard to prepare for. So definitely something to keep in mind there. Thank you, Melinda. 3 things that came up, I hope that captured your attention. It's come up in both videos now, but that's this term Anthropocene. Anthropocene. Anthro meaning humans or man, and Pocene meaning our era. We're going to get back to that later, but just wanted to make sure you caught that word Anthropocene. The second thing I wanted you to make sure you saw, or heard rather, is that the speaker said we're going into an era of unknown consequences. By that I mean we don't know what's going to happen. Neo, do you want to try to translate that a little bit?
Neo has a problem with the internet because it's blackout there.
Okay.
So the provider, I mean, the internet by phone is really bad. So I would help. I will try to help. So,
Okay.
Yana, please do backup, yeah.
Okay.
Could you please repeat again the point? Yeah, please.
Oh, okay. I just wondered if you could make sure everyone hears that the speaker stressed that we have unknown consequences, that the future is undetermined, that it's not bad. We don't know that things are going to be terrible. It's that we don't know what's going to happen. We need to be more open-minded about realizing if things are unknown, that means we can change them. If we think, oh, they're bad, then we think we can't change them. Does that make sense?
Yes. Kita ini dari speaker video tadi, speakernya menekankan soal konsekuensi yang tidak pasti di masa depan. Konsekuensi yang tidak pasti di masa depan dan lanjutannya ya, Nak? Agak susah translate-nya kalau panjang.
Kita sekarang ni sedang berada di dalam fasa kehidupan era yang tidak pasti, di mana macam kalau kita tahu kita boleh prepare lah. Tapi sekarang ni sebab kita tak tahu, so kita tak boleh nak prepare apa yang akan berlaku pada masa akan datang. Sama ada ini akan terlalu ekstrim ataupun macam akan jadi terlalu dry. Macam tu lah yang aku faham.
Great. You still speak so eloquently despite the braces, Leanna. I'm so impressed.
Are you distracted?
I'm also distracted by the great answer from Dion and from Clay, if I may call you that. Great responses. Nowadays, climate is a very big issue, and that's exactly what I wanted to highlight. There's great hope to realize that just in the last 10 or 20 years, this has become a dinner table issue, something everyone's talking about. That's very, very reason to be optimistic that we're going to rally and be prepared. I haven't been to Bandung. I've heard beautiful things, but yeah, I bet it's hot in the afternoon. It's even hot here. And then Clay writes, climate change occurs on Earth. One of the results is human activity. For example, environmental damage changes on the climate. That's right. So it is now we're confident that our human activities are causing the problem. And I know that kind of seems depressing, but just imagine how depressing it would be if we didn't know what was causing the problem. Imagine the climate was changing and causing the floods and greater heat in Bandung, and Samarinda was struggling to get understand what's next, and we didn't know what the cause was. So we have identified the disease, and we clearly know the culprit. So I think that's one step in moving ahead in a good direction. The second good step is that not only do we know what the problem is, but everybody is talking about it. So we have a reason to think that this is something we could possibly do something about when it comes to, again, innovation and how to achieve sustainable development. So great. I'd like to keep going on and now get more into that term that she mentioned a couple times now about the term Anthropocene. So I wanted to know what anyone heard anything about what's happening to the Earth's geology? What do you know about what's happening to the Earth's geology? Neo or Liana, that might need a translation there.
Alright, pertanyaan pertama, apa yang kalian ketahui tentang geologi dari bumi? Kemudian pertanyaan kedua, apa yang telah terjadi dengan geologi di bumi ini?
Yes, so could someone please tell us, type again in the chat box, what have you heard, if anything, about what's happening to the actual surface of the Earth or geology? Are we seeing things continue the way they have, or are things changing a bit? Please type now in the chat box. I would bet the Earth's geology is changing quite a bit in Bandung and some of our other communities closer to volcanoes. So I know our volcanoes are changing the surface of the Earth. But has anyone heard anything about other changes happening to the Earth that's not caused by volcanoes? Go ahead now and type that in the chat box, please.
Ketik di chat box ya, teman-teman. Jawabannya boleh bahasa Indonesia. Kita akan bantu untuk translate. In East Kalimantan, it's I think it's landslide, but it's close to the coal mining, so somehow
landslide.
it connect. Yeah.
What's the cause of the landslides, do you think?
Sorry?
What's the cause of the landslides?
It might be because of the mining is too close to the people.
Ah, sure. Unregulated mining, big problem.
We have the regulation, but the implementation somehow.
Good.
We have Viola.
Let's look into what's happening to the geology as the result of the Industrial Revolution that many of you are mentioning. We're changing the climate because of our action. In this video, you're going to hear a short story about, again, long-term, over 100 years, what we've been doing and what this symbolizes. So let's, again, think really long-term and listen to the way this takes us through this journey of the idea of this Anthropocene, or this new era. All right, what?
This is the story of how one species changed the planet. The latest chapter of our story begins in England 250 years ago. Fueled by coal, then oil, several brilliant inventions appeared. They ignited the Industrial Revolution, which spread like wildfire through Europe, North America, Japan, then elsewhere. The great railways, then cars and highways, connected people across the globe. Medical discoveries saved millions of lives. New artificial fertilizers meant we could feed more people. Population rose rapidly. But this was nothing compared with what was to come. The 1950s marked the beginning of the Great Acceleration. Globalization, marketing, tourism, and huge investments helped fuel enormous growth. People swarmed to cities, which became even more powerful engines of creativity. In a single lifetime, the well-being of millions has improved beyond measure. Health, wealth, security, longevity, never have so many had so much. Yet 1 billion are malnourished. In a single lifetime, we have grown into a phenomenal global force. We move more sediment and rock annually than all natural processes, such as erosion and rivers. We manage 3/4 of all land outside the ice sheets. Greenhouse gas levels this high have not been seen for over 1 million years. Temperatures are increasing. We have made a hole in the ozone layer. We are losing biodiversity. Many of the world's deltas are sinking due to damming, mining, and other causes. Sea level is rising. Ocean acidification is a real threat. We are altering Earth's natural cycles. We have entered the Anthropocene, a new geological epoch dominated by humanity. This relentless pressure on our planet risks unprecedented destabilization. But our creativity, energy, and industry offer hope. We have shaped our past. We are shaping our present. We can shape our future. You and I are part of this story. We are the first generation to realize this new responsibility. As the population grows to 9 billion, we must find a safe operating space for humanity, for the sake of future generations. Welcome to the Anthropocene.
So, again, as she has stated, the geologists believe we are in a new geological era. We have changed the Earth so much that in the future, humans will look back and be doing archaeology, be looking at the rocks and say, wow, there's some really big change. Anissa says she in fact agrees that we have entered the Anthropocene. Most scientists are still refining their ideas. They're making the petition to say we should mark this era. And people say, well, how will they know what marks the change? And some people say, well, everywhere in the world you can see plastic. So maybe plastic will be this item that means we have entered the Anthropocene. Others have said the bones of livestock like chicken, those are so many of them and they're everywhere, that perhaps that is something that we will use as a markation of this new geological era. A third idea is of course, climate change. This all, again, is suggesting that we no longer live on the same planet. And I think one thing that we need to keep in mind about that is that there might be good news buried in that. So I wanted to know, I see Anissa agrees that we have the Anthropocene, but I wanted to know if you thought there's any way to think of this as being any positive signs within this, right? Everything has positive and negatives within it. So what would be some of the positives that she described in that video? Liana, would you start? Was there anything positive you heard from that, or was it too scary?
No, I will type.
You could go ahead and speak too, if you like.
Yeah, I think maybe the positive way is people are starting to realize that they have been into new era and they have start to do something to figure what they have figured out, what's happening to our world, and people are taking initiative to overcome what are the consequences that might happen.
Well said. Would anyone else like to type anything similar? Or other sort of trends that are not obviously negative, but in fact maybe are neutral, or maybe maybe even could be constructed as a sign that we're going in the right direction? Anyone else want to type anything in there? Vanessa, would you like to follow up on your comment? Anything positive? And again, how about Indriani? We haven't heard from you in a while. What do you think of this interesting thing? Making you too scared to type, maybe? I hope not.
Neo, mungkin bisa di-translate instruction-nya.
Oke, untuk para peserta dari tadi video yang udah ditonton, boleh ditulis ya apa yang udah kalian dapat, apa sih new information apa yang udah kalian dapat kayak gitu. Kalau saya pribadi sih saya nggak bisa kasih komen ya, it's not my field of study gitu. Kalau kalian pasti ada yang mau kalian tulis. Kak Rahman, mungkin could you please help to translate Sanifa's answer, because this one is too scientific. Even in Indonesian, I don't understand it. Too scientific.
Sanifa, I live in West Java. The potential of disaster in West Java because of the geological potential. As an example, sesar lembang. I don't know what sesar lembang is. Then the position of Bandung, which support the potential of flood. Maybe you could clarify, Sanifa, what sesar lembang is, because I don't know what it is, so it will help us. Maybe it's the name of place, I think.
I think also the word dukungan means something, some kind of term in geology in Bahasa Indonesia, which I don't understand.
Like, I don't know the term, but the location, create high potential lah. High potential to make flood in Bandung because of its geological position. And also, I don't know whether it's related or not, but also the exploitation of groundwater in some places in Asia, in Jakarta, Bandung, Bangkok, and also Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken. They face the what is it, sorry, the land is it's not decrease, it's like this, getting decline. The land is declined because of the groundwater exploitation.
Oh, right. Yeah. So basically, we're pulling the bottom out from our land, by decreasing groundwater.
And since the sea level, the sea level water is rising, so it creates like higher problem because the land is declining, and the water is rising.
Right. Yeah, that's right, Rahman. And again, anyone else, if you have, particularly if you have stories from where you live, we'd love to hear those typed in to the chat box. It looks like Diana shared that a bit about an earthquake. The one thing I want to highlight about these type of incidents we're talking about is Indonesia is obviously a home is on the ring of fire, and obviously a home of many natural disasters. And I'm afraid those natural disasters are going to continue inevitably. But I think the thing to think about climate change is some people are saying we should not call climate change a natural disaster because we made it. We created it. So we don't want to put it in the same box as a volcano or a flood or a tsunami or a landslide. And as Adriana said, she's kind of relieved that many people are taking action. I'm not sure what we can do to take action against a volcano. But when it comes to the problems we created that emerged in the Anthropocene, it's kind of making us realize, yeah, this is all our making. So maybe if we made the problem and we're becoming aware of it, maybe then we also simultaneously have the chance to say we're also the ones who can deepen our understanding of how to prevent these things. I think if there's one thing I want you to think about when it comes to the Anthropocene and the stories that I've been sharing on the changes in the climate, the changes in our water, and changes in our earth overall, is that I think we can agree that we can't keep going the way we're going. We're not headed on a path that is going to be a great path for the oceans, for our land, for our humans, whether those humans be in Bandung, or whether they be in Bangladesh, or whether they be in Boston. We're clearly heading on a path where we're going to have to do something else, basically. And that's why I have tried to introduce my talk here as being the idea of innovation for sustainable development. The world has agreed upon a goal, sustainable development, the 2030 agenda. We know what we want to achieve in the next 10 years, and we have a long time. 10 years is a very long time to be able to do something. We did very well on the Millennium Development Goals, and we actually think that in the next couple of years, they're going to have to build a new museum, and in that new museum, they're going to put extreme poverty in it, because we're about to get rid of extreme poverty. This is before COVID, but hopefully this is a short-term problem that we'll be able to address. So we're actually headed on a trajectory that, or a path, that means we're going to have to do something drastic and different. And that's what the word innovation is, as I see it. It's not gradually making things better. It's not kind of improving things. It's fundamentally, systematically, totally making something brand new, disruptive, creative, really transformative. That's how I believe, that's what I want to have you think about as a way we can achieve sustainable development. And that is not even to think about our current era of our current pandemic. They estimate another 100 million people will go into extreme poverty, hopefully short term because of this pandemic. Hopefully we'll get out of that. But regardless, even if we are able to alleviate the suffering, this still means that we're going to have to do things differently. We're really, really going to have to do things differently now with COVID. And that's why the idea of innovation comes up. And I'm really excited that Etam is going to be embracing this and helping you imagine new ideas. People generally don't like new ideas. It scares them. But I think if we think about new ideas that can achieve something we all agree on, like sustainable development, then maybe we'll be more willing to consider them. I want to throw one more video up on the screen. And that kind of relates more to less about the earth and our status of our own health, but more about innovation and technology. So I wanted you to, again, go to the chat box, type what's happening with innovation and technology. Are you seeing a lot of innovation and technology in your communities? How do you define technology and innovation? Are you seeing it change your life a lot, change your parents' life? Generally, what is it doing in your reality? I think there's some things happening behind the scenes that maybe I don't know about, but it definitely on the surface, technology is having an impact. So please go ahead and type what you're seeing about the impact of technology in the chat box there. And while you're doing that, I'd like to share one more quick video that suggests not only are we in a new geological era, that geological era being the Anthropocene, we're also in a new industrial revolution era. We actually may be combining, changing the earth with creating new innovation and technology we might be able to use to address the problems we're creating. So have a look at this quick story of what's called the fourth industrial revolution. So there you have it, the idea that we are in fact so powerful and so influential. We're entering into a new industrial revolution with new tools, new capacities. And although we get excited about driverless cars, I think we may in fact be realizing we simultaneously are creating the tools that will allow us to think of ourselves as being in the Anthropocene, as being very powerful, having the tools to achieve sustainable development if we get the right combination correct. So again, I typed a name in there I want you to be aware of, called in the chat box, called CRISPR. Indriana says she hasn't heard of that. Thanks for sharing, Indriana. It's hard to share sometimes when you don't know something. I respect your honesty. What's happened now is scientists, kind of accidentally actually, I've met some of the scientists and who've created this thing called the CRISPR, and they have actually been able to create a machine, if you will, that you would think of as in the fourth industrial revolution. And that machine is able to change inexpensively, effectively, and accurately. It's able to change every life form, the actual DNA, the genes of everything on Earth, from plants to chocolate to cows to reefs to humans. And so we're actually now at a period where we need to be having some deep conversations about what it is we are able to do and how we're going to regulate it. So have a look at that CRISPR gene editing, and I guarantee you won't regret it. It's going to be something you need to be closely aware of in following its potential. So Rahman, can you let me know how I'm doing on time? It's now 4:20 here in Hawaii. How's the time looking there?
It's 10:20.
10:21. Yeah.
And how much more time do I have?
10-15 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Well, that's great, because we're to my favorite part, and this is my favorite part because we're going to have a quiz, a 13-question quiz. And we are going to test to see if the people who came to the East-West Center are any smarter than the people who didn't come yet. That means anyone who's been to the East-West Center, or even, hey, let's include Nuha. Let's include anyone who's come to the United States on a State Department grant. Let's see if, and then is Neo still here?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Maybe the internet.
and just in time. But we're going to have a quiz, and we're going to see if coming to America makes you any smarter, or just makes you funnier. So let's see. This is a very exciting quiz because I think you're gonna think differently about what your brain does for you, really. So let's jump right in.
We are culturally rich, not smarter.
I think I'm able to translate that. Would you like to go ahead and share that, Rakwan?
I will translate. Nanti akan ada pertanyaan, 12 pertanyaan. Teman-teman tolong jawab. Nanti Yana, Nuha, dan Rahman juga ikut. Jawab aja di kolom chat ya. Setiap pertanyaan itu 30 detik. Ada 12 pertanyaan tentang sesi kita hari ini, tentang informasi dunia juga. Nanti pertanyaannya di layar, teman-teman jawab di chat box. Boleh bahasa Indonesia ya jawabannya ya. Okay. I will also translate the question. Yeah.
Okay, good. So what I like to think of this is, they have something called IQ, where they supposedly can measure your intelligence. When I took it, actually, I didn't even rank on it. I didn't even have any intelligence, so it kind of fooled them. But this is another type of test. I consider this to be Earth Q. So this is a Earth intelligence. How smart are you about the state of Earth, and specifically, how smart are you about the state of progress, of innovation? Where has innovation brought us today? So these are 12 questions, again, about the world, about where what innovation has done for us in the past. And I'm hoping to give you 30 seconds is a little long, but we'll see if that's enough. Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
Please type your answer in to the chat box. Liana, Ruckman, everyone who has an answer. There are 7 billion people in the world, little over. Which map shows where people live? And each figure is 1 billion.
Ada 7 miliar orang yang tinggal di dunia ini saat ini. Gambar yang mana yang merepresentasikan di mana orang-orang tinggal? Setiap gambar simbol tadi merepresentasikan 1 miliar orang. Boleh pilih A, B, atau C.
Maybe.
Okay, Fanny says B. Exciting. See the answers come in. Here we go. Fanny says B, and this is a C. Sakina A. Rahman, the brilliant leader, says A. Azmi B. Melinda B. Delpha B. Putri B. Elita C. B. Putri B. Wait, 2 Putri? Yeah, different Putri. Utami B. And Hanifa is A. Well, let's see what the answer is. 3, 2, 1. Well, look at that.
Oh my God.
Yay!
Hey, somebody went to America and got smarter. Good job, Rahman, and good job, Hanifa. You got it correct. In fact, there's 1 billion people that live in the Americas, the green area. There's 1 billion that live in Europe, including Russia and Turkey. There's 1 billion in Africa, but 4 billion in Asia and Australia. That's something we don't feel like I think we see when we think about the world. Question number 2. Where does the majority of the world population live? Low income, middle income, or high income countries? Liana, is Malaysia still a middle income country?
I will translate ya. Di mana mayoritas populasi dunia tinggal, populasi dunia tinggal, 1 negara low income, negara middle income, yang C high income, negara high income.
So we are seeing Sanifa, oh no, it's Indriani is saying B, Rahman A, Anissa A, Dion B, Amik A, Fanny A, Azmi A, Azmi A, Sanifa B, Sakina B, Liana A, Belinda A, Gawan. Thank you so much for contributing to the test. Such great engagement. Elita A. Wow, everybody's giving out A's. Fadli B, Dilfa B. Wow, it looks like most people think that the world is living in low income. Basically, the world is poor, I guess, is what most of us think, with a few exceptions. Of course, Rahman always taking the different answer. Liana, what did you say?
I revised my answer.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I think it has to be B, but with the extreme potential changes to be low.
Let's see what the actual answer is. 3, 2, 1. Wow.
Yay! But it has potential.
So many people thinking the world is very, very poor, but wow, over the last 100 years, the majority of the world now is living pretty good. That doesn't mean everyone, but generally by average, most people are living in middle income countries. This is like a miracle. All of you thought maybe A, and Africa has low incomes. That's right, Risky, that's true. But most of the people live in Asia, right, as we learned from the last graph, and most people are now middle income. Wow, that's a stunning realization, I'd say. Question number 3, let's keep going. You're doing great. The United Nations predicts that by 2100, the world population will have increased by another 4 billion people. What is the main reason? Will there be more children under age 15? Will there be more adults, 15 to 75? Or will there be more very old people? So what's happening to the world? Are we having overpopulation, more babies under age 15? Or is there going to be more adults? Or is there going to be a lot of old people?
PBB memprediksi di tahun 2100 populasi dunia akan meningkat bertambah sebanyak 4 miliar orang. Apa alasan utamanya? Yang A, akan ada lebih banyak anak di atas 15 tahun. Yang B, akan ada lebih banyak orang dewasa 15-75. Yang C, ada lebih banyak orang tua di atas 75 tahun.
Okay, great. A lot of great answers. Good job. So Indriani, B, Rahman A, Dion says adults, Amik says children, Azmi says adults, Putri Utami says there's going to be children, babies, Sakina, babies, Fani, babies, Anissa, adults, Liana says adults, Sanifa, adults, Tasya, adults, Fadhil says we're having a lot of babies, Elita, it's going to be adults, Dilfa, adults, Granyuf Clay is adult, and then Melinda says adult. Well, let's see what we have here. What's going to happen in the world? Are we having many more children now, or have we stopped having children? The correct answer is 3, 2, 1. There will be more people.
Wow.
How about that? Nobody even guessed that. What's happening, my friends, is that the world is not having babies anymore. People are having very few babies. People are really interested in opportunity for the very few children they have. And so we are starting to see a trend, a shift in the world. By 2100, we are not going to have overpopulation. We're seeing a decline in population. This will have stunning implications for our economies, for our environment. And it means the idea that we have too many people is not right. We're doing a great job in controlling our populations and doing a great job in making sure those populations have better opportunities. So let's keep going. Let's see what's next in the disruptive quiz about innovation. So from innovation in the past, we know there are 2 billion children in the world today, 0 to 15. How many children will there be in 2100, according to the United Nations? So that last one may have given you a hint, but today 2 billion children, but we're going to have, by 2100, they're going to have at least 9, maybe 10 billion people. So how many children are we going to have in 2100? Please put your answer in now.
Oke, ada 2 miliar anak-anak di dunia saat ini usia 0 sampai 15 tahun. Berapa banyak anak-anak di tahun 2100 berdasarkan PBB, menurut PBB? A 4 miliar, B 3 miliar, C 2 miliar.
So Liana says we'll be staying, Liana is staying at 2 billion. Amik says we're going to go to 3 billion. It looks like several others are saying we're going to go or stay at 2 billion children. We're not going to have any more children by 2100. A couple are saying, and this is saying we're going to go to 4 billion. Fanny is saying we're going to go up a little bit. Dion, I don't imagine, but I think the answer is A. Okay, maybe Dion is saying we're going to go to 4 billion. So a real mixture of results here. I see a lot of C's, but also a lot of A's and B's. Well, let's see, in fact, what the United Nations says. Oh, one more. Rizky says C, because every couple will have 2 children in the majority, so that means we're going to have 2 billion children, the same amount of children as we have today. I don't know. I thought we're going to go to 10 million people. How's this going to happen? So in 2100, how many children will there be? And the correct answer in 3, 2, 1, 2 billion it is. We are continue to have sorry, my mark is off. It's underneath it. But we are going to continue to have the same amount of children in 2100 as we have today. That means we're going to have an incredibly different population trend, a very different Earth, and a great opportunity to, I think, manage our impact on the environment and our impact on the climate much, much better. Again, the great thing here is that this is driven by innovation in science and technology and modern medicine. So the trend unfolding, I hope you're seeing here, is that innovation in science and tech is very much on track to help us achieve sustainable development. So we're looking at those realities now. Let's see if number 5 continues the trend. In the last 20 years, the proportion of people living in extreme poverty worldwide. Can you read that one, Rahman? Last 20 years, what's happened to extreme poverty?
20 tahun terakhir, proporsi orang yang berada di kemiskinan ekstrim di dunia menjadi A, hampir double, B, tetap atau kurang lebih sama, C, apa artinya C ini? Berkurang setengah kan?
Almost half. Separuh daripada.
Berkurang menjadi setengah ya?
Setengah daripada worldwide population.
Bukan, daripada sebelumnya. Aku ini deh.
Okay, people saying either population has doubled or population has remained the same. Kind of mixed. Elita says remain the same. Tasha is out of the kind of unusual. Is Tasha he or he?
Tasha, she.
Tasha says C, almost halved. Dion says almost halved as well. But most of us are thinking basically the world has gotten worse in the last 20 years. We've had more and more poverty. Well, let's see what the World Bank and the United Nations have reported. Has poverty gone up or down in the last 20 years? In 3, 2, 1. Wow. It is almost half. We have gotten rid of half of extreme poverty in the last 20 years. Again, this is before COVID, but hopefully COVID is short term and we're able to rebound. But regardless of COVID, This is recognizing at the incredible benefits of what we can do as humans when we focus on trying to make the world better, on trying to create breakthrough innovations. We've almost gotten rid of half of extreme poverty through thinking about innovation for sustainable development. Wow, this is great. Let's keep going. So this graph, in fact, represents what has happened. So income brackets are in international dollars. And now you can see a steady rise in the last 20 years of people having more money to live off of and less people having to suffer with poverty. The thing that's not in this chart that we talk about a lot in the United States is in the last 20 years, the availability of what someone can buy with their money has tripled or sometimes quadrupled. So that's a thing that's hard to measure. But, you know, in 20 or 30 years ago, people couldn't afford laptops or smartphones. Well, they didn't exist, but they couldn't afford great technologies. And now we can all start to afford them. The affordability of products, of flying, these things are now more affordable and everyone is making more money. So definitely a positive trend towards innovation. Let's look at life expectancy. How long? What is the life expectancy average of the world? Not Indonesia, not America, but if you took all the world, most of the world in Asia, how long do most people live?
Berapa usia hidup, harapan hidup penduduk dunia? A50, B60, C70.
A lot of people saying 60 years. A couple saying 70.
Yeah, today Indonesia is 70 something.
Is it? Indonesia?
If I'm not mistaken, is 73 or something for Indonesia.
Yeah, we have gotten rid of wars, so that really lowered life expectancy. But 70 is pretty old for the global south, some say developing.
But in the fact, like in
near doomsday.
But I think, like in real fact, like in real life, it's hard to find someone more than 65.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah,
where are they?
But the data shows that 73 something, but in the fact maybe 60. I don't know.
Well, let's see what the United Nations say. This is, again, globally available data. This is not something the Supreme Leader made up. This is global data that should be reported. This is what should be on the front of our newspapers. This is something we should all be knowing about. But it's very accurate state of the world. But let's see what it is. What have we done with medicine and innovation for sustainable development with life expectancy? Is it A, B, or C? In 3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Yay. Wow. I think because people are getting healthier, they are taking their diets quite well. With the innovation and medicals, it helps.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So this is not rich countries. This is not poor countries. This is the global average, globally. And remember, the majority of the world lives where you are, in Asia, not in America, not in Africa, not in Europe. So Asia is the statistic we're looking at, and most people are living 70 years. Actually, I think I've heard 73 is the exact number. So this is where our past innovation has led us. This is a stunning accomplishment. We should be out in the streets, well, with masks, but we should be out in the streets celebrating this accomplishment, and this is something everyone should be talking about. Okay, let's keep going.
I just celebrate my grandmother's birthday last week. She are now 68 something.
Oh, great.
Okay.
I just heard from my dad today. He's 77, and he told me he's going to take a trip and drive on a vacation, and he actually 16. So it's keeping me scared, but I'm glad. I'm not sure about that one. So let's keep going to test 7. And now we're going to start calling these a bias test. I think some of us may need to be thinking about the fact that if this is publicly available data, and we know our grandmothers are living old, like Leanna's, perhaps this is saying something about our pessimism. Perhaps we are not we're not optimistic in innovation enough. Perhaps we're a little bit pessimistic. Maybe that makes us feel better, or maybe that makes us relax. Maybe that makes us seem smarter. But I think we need to be thinking about our own bias here, because this is, you could go to the United Nations website and find this in minutes. So let's look at number 7. How many of the world's 1-year-old children have been vaccinated against disease?
Berapa banyak anak-anak di dunia berusia 1 tahun yang telah mendapatkan vaksin untuk melawan penyakit saat ini? A80, B50, C20. I would love to go with A, but I think it's not A. I don't know. As a health professional, as a health professional, I would like to go with A, but I don't know. Maybe not in some countries. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
You wish it was A.
Yeah.
So vaccination again is a type of medicine that we've been working hard on. Bill Gates, a big funder of the Gates Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates. But where has innovation in our medicine and a vaccination done for 1-year-old children?
Well, I'm not sure. In Malaysia, we have like a schedule for a baby. There must be vaccines every 6 months or every few months after their birth. So I'm just going with the A because it's normal for us to do vaccines in here, but I'm not sure about the world population.
Right. Or the availability. You're a middle-income country, so maybe that doesn't apply to the world. Let's see. In 3, 2, 1, how many of the world's children have been vaccinated?
Yeah.
80%. You were right. We should be proud of Rahman and health professionals.
Because I think people, maybe child from Africa, they also got free vaccines, right?
Yep. So we have been able to make more vaccines, make them more affordable, and we have been able to get them to everybody through our dedication, through our innovation, through our ingenuity. Again, we've accidentally caused some problems with things like climate, right? Those are not intentional. Those are an accident. We did not intentionally go about to cause climate change. It happened in the course of our development. So what happens when we're intentional with what we do? What happens when we focus on a goal? This is what happens. When we set our mind to a goal, we can actually make sure almost all children on the earth have vaccination. I think that suggests that if we continue to think about innovation, we can achieve sustainable development if we can make sure we stay focused on these goals that are being proposed for us. Let's keep going. A couple more. Here you have a graph showing child mortality from 1950. Look at that. Least developed, less developed, more developed. It is completely fallen all across the map since 1950. Absolutely stunning accomplishment. Number 8, how did the number of deaths per year from natural disasters change over the last 100 years? Many of you have mentioned the natural disasters, volcanoes, the landslides in Indonesia. So what about if we look at the globally last 100 years? What's happened to the number of deaths from those natural disasters?
Ya, bagaimana jumlah kematian setiap tahun dari bencana alam berubah selama 100 tahun terakhir. Yang A lebih double, yang B tetap sama kurang lebih, C berkurang lebih dari setengah.
Seeing a lot of decrease to less than half. A lot of people think we made a big progress there. That's a shift from what we were thinking. A lot of people saying decrease to less than half. Rizky is saying we've had double. He's quite pessimistic. Dilfa, quite pessimistic. Maybe more or less the same, Sakina says. How about the rest of us? Please type in a letter now. What's happened to the number of deaths? We know, Liana, are we seeing more or less powerful natural disasters these days?
I think we have a frequent natural disaster these days, but in my opinion, we have some technology that helps us getting through it. Like we have an alarm, and like the buildings are more stable right now nowadays. So I think it's C, but I'm just guessing.
So maybe that would mean kind of more of the same. We have more powerful ones, but we're better at detecting and protecting people. So maybe in the middle.
So we can protect more lives, I think, more than the past 10 years.
I hope so. But at the same time, with climate change making them more powerful, from my friends in the Philippines, it makes me kind of think maybe we're not doing good enough. Let's see what the global data suggests. Number of deaths from natural disasters. Again, the last 100 years. 3, 2, 1. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Again, natural disasters, things we can't prevent, but yet we've actually decreased in less than half the number of people from dying from them. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing that we have been able to forecast what is going to happen with a spontaneous, out of nowhere disaster and help people survive. That's a wonderful testament to our human capabilities. Number 9, how many people in the world have access to electricity? 20, 50, 80%.
Berapa banyak orang di dunia yang punya akses terhadap
Diana
listrik?
says A. Dion says 50%. 80, 80, 50%, 80, 80, 80. Some electricity.
Electricity. It's easy to buy a generator now.
Oh,
To get electricity, but the price of the fuel it will be like more expense for the family. But it's easy to access.
okay.
Easier than
before. People in agreement here, whether it be the generators or getting to the utility. Most people think 80%, and in fact, that's right. Yes, 80% of the people in the world have access to some electricity, which means they can store their food. They have medicines. They can store medicines that need to be refrigerated. It means they can have healthier, longer lives for their children, make sure their children have healthier foods. Well, a reference to Nikola Tesla there. Yes, thank you, Risky, for pointing that out. Somebody that we should, in fact, an inventor we should be celebrating in terms of looking at innovation. Let's keep going. Number 10. Worldwide, everywhere in the world, 30-year-old men have spent 10 years in school on average. But what about the women? The same age. Well, how much have women spent in school? Average 10 years for men, but we have big issues with making sure everyone takes advantage. Big families, they have to make sure only one person can go to school or two, and that's usually the man. So what do you think here?
Oke, di seluruh dunia, pria berusia 30 tahun menghabiskan 10 tahunnya di sekolah secara umum. Bagaimana dengan perempuan yang usianya sama, berapa tahun yang mereka habiskan di sekolah?
I hope I can answer the same, 10 years, but yeah, we don't have that kind of answer here.
You don't have what?
I hope I can answer 10 years, same as man. But yeah, we don't have that.
It's not an option yet, right?
Like in
So is
here,
it close to men at 9 or much less than men at 6?
I think it's like 6, maybe 6 years.
Okay. I see no one saying 3 years.
In Malaysia, that we didn't choose our gender, either it's man or girl. They can go to schools, same amount of the time. But I don't know in worldwide.
How about the priority if your family have like a boy and girls? Who would they prioritize for education? 10 years means compulsory education, till senior high school, maybe. around compulsory. 6, 3, 6, and 6, 12.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but maybe
Compulsory.
some of the poor area, maybe they just
Yeah.
give the basics, and then they realize they didn't have money to spend on school, so they just like giving an opportunity for men first, then the girl.
Yeah. Even though the school is free, but
worldwide, yeah, most of the people in Asia, most men 10 years. Let's see what's the average for girls. Is it still really bad? Is it mediocre? Or Rizky says 9. Women are always smarter. But I'm not sure the school goes with smarts, Rizky. But let's see what we have here. 9, 6, or 3. The answer is 9.
Nine.
9 years, yes, 9 years. Women are almost going to school as much as men. So let's keep going. I think 3 more. In low-income countries across the world, how many girls finish primary school? How many girls will finish primary school? 20, 40, or 60%?
what does it mean? Primary school, 6 years, 10 years, 12 years.
I think my experience has been anything after grade 6 was kind of middle. So I'd say up to grade 6, maybe.
Okay.
How many girls are finishing primary school?
Di negara ekonomi lemah di seluruh dunia, berapa banyak anak perempuan yang menyelesaikan sekolah dasar? A20, B. Sekolah dasar ini mungkin yang 6 tahun ya. I would say
Andriani is saying about 40% finished primary. Liana's more optimistic, 60. Fadil's 40. Dion, Rahman, Viola Melinda, C. Amig, C. Many people saying 60%. Sakina staying more pessimistic with 20%. Tasya coming in 60%. I think what we're starting to see now is people starting to realize that the teacher has made a test that has data that has a trend. And you're right. 60% of girls now finish primary school. You're starting to catch on. The world has made incredibly great progress, whether it be education, whether it be medicine, whether it be access to housing and clean water. So wait a minute though. This one is more focused on environment. We know many environmental trends are quite negative. Let's see what happens here though. Maybe this is the downside to that progress. Tigers, pandas, rhinos were threatened in 1996. Since then, have any of these species become more critically endangered? Have we become critically endangered or lost pandas, tigers, or rhinos, or keystone species?
Oke, harimau, panda besar, dan badak hitam sebelumnya statusnya adalah threatened species atau terancam di tahun 96. Sejak itu, adakah dari spesies ini yang statusnya naik menjadi critically endangered? Ada yang naik nggak statusnya menjadi lebih kritis begitu? A1, B2 di antara mereka, C3. A tidak ada, B1, C2.
Oh, a lot of variation here, but a lot of people saying maybe 2 have gotten critically endangered, suggesting that the innovation we have fueled has had negative impacts on our big species that we will never be able to replace. Are we actually shooting ourselves in the foot, as they say? Are we actually creating innovation and progress, but having some species pay the price of being extinct from this planet, or at least critically endangered? A lot of people saying maybe 2 of them have gone endangered. Pretty bad news. Let's see. Tigers, pandas, and black rhinos since 1996, long time ago. How many have become critically endangered and are becoming close to being extinct? 1 of them.
Yes.
Only one. So that's not as bad as it could be, not as good as it should be. But certainly doesn't feel like the news is talking about that success, does it? Certainly here's like we don't hear things aren't as bad as they could be. I think this is our last one. So global climate believes that over the next 100 years, the average temperature will, I think we've covered this, I read in a video, get warmer, stable, or get colder. I think we're kind of clear on that one, so no need to live in mystery. But I think the one thing that this reveals is our innovation, our science and technology has made incredible progress on the 12 issues we covered. We have yet to deal with this 13th one. So I think this is an excellent place for us to be focusing on our innovation. I was really stunned to read an article by Bill Gates saying that this COVID pandemic, we have completely shut down our economies, our airlines. We have actually lost millions of lives, and we sympathize with those families and those friends who suffer from those losses. But the shocking thing about what has happened when we completely ground our economy to a halt is that we have reduced our emissions by 8% globally in the world. And I think the shocking part about that is not that it's reduced by 8%. The shocking thing is that we still have a 92% of our emissions are still there, even though we shut everything down, unthinkably shut everything down, which again is to say, wow, we can't shut everything down and achieve sustainable development. We're going to have to create new ideas, new practices, new policies. We're going to have to continue to innovate to address the climate change and address our emissions to achieve sustainable development. So with that, I just wanted to give you a chance to finally type in your opinions or your ideas into the chat box and tell me how you feel about your results. Do you feel that you have an accurate view of the world? Do you feel you're biased? You're kind of more pessimistic? Or do you have a pretty accurate view of the world and you maintain this vision that innovation can achieve sustainable development? Please type in an answer now to the chat box.
Oke, refleksi ya, bagaimana perasaan teman-teman terhadap hasil dari jawaban teman-teman. Apakah kalian merasa lebih pesimis atau lebih optimis, dan bagaimana inovasi itu dapat mendorong terjadinya atau tercapainya pembangunan berkelanjutan. Share di chatbox ya tentang perasaan kalian terhadap hasil dari jawaban kalian itu. Oh, saya misalnya orangnya pesimis begitu, atau kan kelihatan tuh dari jawaban-jawaban yang tadi kita pilih. Chat di type box, boleh bahasa Indonesia, nanti kita akan bantu untuk translate. Maybe Yana, you can share about what you feel. You can speak, I think.
Okay. From the result that I get, I think half of it was correct, and I think I'm positive that I am among the one who make the initiative. So I feel like a bit positive about our future, and I'm looking forward to see a better place.
Well, alhamdulillah.
What about you, Rahman?
Like half questions, the first half questions, I tend to answer pessimistic answers, and I saw that the questions lead to the optimistic answer. So I tried to answer more optimistic questions in the half six last question. I I don't know. Like I'm now in the middle, like 50-50. It is. I'm sure that innovation, of course, can help to achieve sustainable development goals, but somehow maybe it is strongly connected with the morality and humanity, because it is actually what drives us to the better future. And I think like all people in the world already start this movement by mentioning that like it's no longer about a national, like one apa namanya, one nation, one country, but it's our problem. So everyone needs to work together and do more collaboration to achieve these goals.
SDG? You mean the SDG goal?
Yeah, the SDGs goal. The SDGs, of course.
So you have a few answers here. Nance, do you
We
want
have
to
someone from we have one from Indriani. I feel like I'm a little bit optimistic, and I think that innovation and technology plays a big role in sustainable development.
That's great. I like how Indriani stated, a little bit optimistic. Sometimes it's hard to be very optimistic, and it seems a little bit childish, and maybe it should be, because there's still a lot of bad things in the world. There's a lot of problems, but if there's one thing I want to leave you with, it's that you should know that the world can be bad and have problems, but also be getting better at the same time. Again, the world can have problems, we can have issues, but it can also be getting better. That is to say that we have problems we need to focus on. The Sustainable Development Goals can help our targets learn how we need to focus. And clearly, looking at the past 100 years, we have been able to create nothing less than miracles. Many of these miracles we are the beneficiaries of. Our families are the beneficiaries of. So if there's one thing I really want you to realize about this entire story that I've tried to tell today, is there are very major, complicated issues that we're going to be faced with. But at the same time, our capacities, our technologies, and the fourth industrial revolution, our ability to be innovative and think about new ideas can, in fact, if we stay a little bit optimistic like Indriana, and we don't fall into being pessimistic, and we don't fall into being thinking there's no hope, then in fact we can achieve great things. So I hope that you take this idea and this philosophy with you and realize this philosophy is not something that Americans think. It's not something that Europeans think or Japanese people think. These are the numbers. We have a problem with water. We have a problem with climate. We have a problem with our endangered species. But at the same time, we have immensely positive trends for the humans that are going to need the education, the vaccinations, and the health to address these issues in our future. So please take full advantage of the opportunity that Rahman and Liana have created. They have worked years to come up with these ideas. They have been in many of our trainings and been in working close contact with me to stay optimistic and to stay realizing that while we have problems, we can in fact make progress in addressing those problems. It's stressful. It's much easier to be hopeless. It's much easier to say, oh, I just give up. I just want to hang out with my friends for a little while. And I understand that. I feel that way too sometimes. But sometimes hanging out with friends isn't meaningful enough. And sometimes being a part of something that's a great human project can, I think, make great conversations for our friends and, in fact, help us achieve a more robust and equitable, more opportunistic civilization for ourselves and better lives for all living species. So again, thank you for joining on your Saturday morning. Thanks for being a part of Etam Academy's next vision, the Seeds for the Future grant from America. Very prestigious challenge that they have been awarded. So a grant. So looking forward to see where this goes next, and looking forward to being in touch with you. And most of all, looking forward to see what sort of innovations you create for your communities and how those achieve sustainable development. So mahalo and thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. And again, Liana and Rahman, very proud of you, and thanks for the opportunity to join this session.
Thank you so much, Lance, for your time today. Enjoy your Friday night.
Okay.
Yeah, I will be speaking in bahasa. Um, jadi sesi hari ini memperlihatkan bahwa inovasi teman-teman peserta nanti dilihat dari skop yang lebih besar. Ternyata ini bukan hal kecil, ini adalah hal awal dari skop yang lebih besar dan terkoneksi dengan pencapaian SDGs itu sendiri. Nah, kami ingin teman-teman melihatnya ke situ begitu. Jadi tidak hanya bahwa inovasi ini hanya ke isu wash saja, tapi ini connect terhadap isu SDG sendiri yang yang memang perlu kita capai di tahun 2030. Thank you, Lance, for I feel like from this session I can see the bigger scope and perspective on how the innovations from participants will somehow support the achievement of SDGs, and it will be like really important because later in the future it will be really useful for them to get grant or award because they know how to connect that with the SDGs and how it will affect to the people, to the benefit of the people.
That's right.
Thank you so much for your time. I wish you healthy, and I wish to be in Hawaii again. Yeah, it's so sad that you guys cannot go to our workshop in Samarinda. We really wish you can be here, or maybe later. So I hope I can organize some events if there is a possibility you guys come to Samarinda.
Yes, we would be honored and love to meet everyone that took part in this this workshop today. I'm just putting a link of one of my favorite websites in the chat box in case we don't get a chance to connect. You can have a look at the Our World in Data initiative that collects many of these articles and information, and you can stay educated yourself, because although this session is going to end, that doesn't mean that the world is going to stop innovating or that you can stop learning. This means, in fact, that now that you know the world can do incredible things, humans can do incredible things, we have to make sure we stay accurate in understanding what's happening in the world, and we help create that progress that's needed. So I'm signing off, as Rahman said, going home on Friday night, and hoping that we can take advantage of all the innovation we've received in the last 100 years and get this pandemic addressed, and get back to a world that is moving forward for the sustainable development.
Maybe we can take picture.
Sure.
Please everyone turn on your camera. Hello everyone, can you turn on your camera? We will take picture. Yeah. Okay. Turn on your camera, guys. We will take picture.
Oh wow, this is so great.
Yeah.
Such smart-looking people.
Yeah. Please turn on your camera. We will take picture, guys. If you're still with the Azmi, okay. More people, turn on your camera if your internet supports. Asya, Sanifa, Ami. Is there any more? Ada lagi yang mau turn on kameranya? Viola, okay, I think it's enough. Yang lain masih mau? I will take picture ya. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh ya, one more. There is Fadil. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys. Saying aloha. Take care. Be in touch.
Aloha. Bye. Bye, Lance. Ya, alhamdulillah kita udah selesai sesi yang second virtual meeting. Mungkin nanti there is one more, tapi dari tim Etam, tapi tidak Google Meeting. Mungkin Google Meeting sedikit, lalu kemudian ada sedikit instruction dari tim Etam. Terus jangan lupa bahwa konfirmasi kehadirannya di tanggal 30 September dan acaranya itu 4 hari ya, saya lupa 19, 20, 21, 23, jadi 24-nya baru check out, begitu. Nanti I will ini sih tulis juga di di WhatsApp. Jadi 4 hari masuk tanggal 19 kan check in jam 2, nah sekaligus nanti pembukaan 19, 20, 21, 22, 23-nya check out. Jadi 22 kita tutup insya Allah di malam hari. Jadi 23-nya kan tinggal setengah hari itu untuk siap-siap packing apa segala macam gitu ya. Rencananya seperti itu guys. I will be sending the schedule mungkin at the end of this month lah ya. Draftnya begitu. Ada pertanyaan? Kalau nggak ada pertanyaan, teman-teman udah boleh leave dari meeting room. Sampai ketemu di Samarinda, jangan lupa konfirmasi kehadirannya supaya kita bisa kirimkan grant awal ya. Kemudian ada yang tanya kemarin itu mau dibikin prototipe seperti apa yang dibawa ke Samarinda. As real as possible ya. Jadi nanti biar bisa dipakai lagi ketika implementasi gitu. As real as possible aja prototipenya. Jadi bisa dibawa pulang, bisa buat untuk implementasi juga nanti. Jadi nggak double beli-beli gitu. Karena ada yang awalnya pengen bikin, yang kecil dulu sebagai sampel, yang kecil yang kayak hanya model gitu loh. Tapi kalau menurut saya mending sekalian supaya nanti bisa dimanfaatkan kembali begitu. Oke, terima kasih semuanya. Goodbye, enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Thank you, Kak.
Welcome.
Bye.